Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy. It's our very own kind of double feature today. That doesn't make sense to you guys, but we were just talking about double features. It's Cameron Rice and Hector Navarro.
Woo! Hello.
High five, Cam.
What are you trying to do?
Oh, well, wrong way. There we are.
Yeah.
And then, let me get Roxy on the other side there.
Put it up. What? My hand is so small.
Yeah.
What
this is also
happening there?
There's also me and Hector are so close. Let me tell you, my camera's pretty far back. My image is I'm how is it zoomed in? What happened?
I don't know how to make my camera a different size. It is the size it is. It's a webcam. I don't know if there's a zoom function. I have not figured it out yet. So I just move it physically. We go backwards, we go forwards. That's how it happens. So I don't know how my head size is my head size. It just has to be that way. Well, I would say to you guys, happy Memorial Weekend, but that doesn't seem right. Guys, we were discussing before the show what is proper etiquette today. You guys let us know, but Cam and Hector, as of now, where do you stand? How do you approach people today if we weren't in quarantine?
I don't typically say Happy Memorial Day to people in the street.
You're not like Ebenezer Scrooge at the end of Christmas Carol, running down the street.
Typically do that. I try to be somebody who, if anything is ever said to me, I say it back to the person.
Like Merry happy
Christmas,
birthday,
Merry
Hector.
Christmas. Yeah, happy birthday, Roxy. Like that. Yeah. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah. Like whatever somebody is going to say to me, I'll say to them.
So if somebody did say to you, Happy Memorial Day,
I would say Happy Memorial Day. Yeah, thank you. I'm here shopping for a car this weekend, or whatever it is I'm doing in the real world, where there's a Memorial Day sale or something. I don't know where I would be. Yeah.
We're getting a lot of it's a happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. I also would like to point out, I today am wearing a shirt that says America on it. So
loud and proud, girl.
I guess. I have a lot of friends who think that it's very rude to wear an American flag or any shirt that says America on it during this time. Cam, Hector, any thoughts on that?
What do you mean during this time? During Memorial Day or during
during this
worldwide pandemic?
During this time, as in during the last couple years of presidency and whatnot.
I will always like and be a fan of the character of Captain America, because that character is propaganda. The character was created to be propaganda. And yet, at the same time, he also represents the best of this country, which really is just people. And there's been moments in Captain America history, played by Chris Evans, where he's like, I don't really believe in institutions. I believe in individuals. My faith has been in individuals. And that's kind of naive, but it's also kind of great. And I think that if you want to be proud of your country, even if your country has a lot of problems and has elected racist people to lead the country, you can still say, I'm proud of this country because the ideals that it was founded on is supposed to be that people are created equal. And then they fixed the slavery thing, but it's supposed to be that people are created equal.
First draft
country. It's rough. First draft. Yeah. Control Alt Delete that part of the draft. But it's ideally supposed to be. What I'm saying is, I think it's fine to have pride in your nation, because to me, anytime I've had pride in my nation, it has been that I have pride in its people, that the people are amazing. They can be amazing. We can be amazing. So I think that's fine. Damn, I love the political talk, says Larry. Larry, what's up?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
That said, though, if I see someone at the grocery store and they're wearing an American flag tank top, I will be like, Trump bumper sticker. 9 times out of 10, Trump bumper sticker.
Yeah, that is true. Wait, speaking of the time that you're talking about, though, Hector, when the country was founded and we might have to Control Alt Delete some stuff. Imagine if there were iPhones then. This is a weird
Thomas
thing that my
Jefferson's
brain
Twitter
does.
would have been sick.
Well, just imagine how embarrassed we would be. I'm embarrassed sometimes today, but just the embarrassment of some of the conversations that would take place then that we read about in textbooks. I wonder what actually, if this is recorded, the racism, the decisions around, I want to be not even that far back. I want to be in the room as people are discussing why women should not vote. Like what are the actual words that are coming out of people's mouths?
They were all eloquent. They were all very well spoken and eloquent. That's the
in an
bummer of it.
accent. I don't know why. Just they are.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
The old accents.
Ye shall not vote because vagina. Am I right?
Do you remember that scene? Do you remember that scene, guys, where it's in the first Wonder Woman movie, Gal Gadot, where she gets, it's World War I, and she gets taken to like a British meeting of generals, and she sneaks in past Chris Pine, and she's there, and everybody gets distracted because there's a woman there, and they're like, what was a woman doing here? Yes. And she doesn't understand why she can't be in there. And then later she's in another meeting with generals, and they're talking about sacrificing a troop or whatever, and she gets so pissed. That's what you would feel like. Why would you wish that upon yourself if you travel back in time and witness those meetings? You would just feel like Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman, where you'd be like, what? Why are you doing this?
Oof.
Yeah, Back to the Future worked out well for Marty because he was a white dude.
So true. So true. Wow. Never thought about that. Nobody else can.
Everybody else try to go back to the 50s. See how well that works out.
Mentioning Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman, I haven't checked in with you, Hector, at all. Yeah. But for anybody who doesn't know, Hector hosts DC Daily. What's going on over there right now? Quarantine, filming. How are things going? What are things looking like?
It's great right now. I think Cameron would know more about like what the state of California's regulations are for like filming or what they're going to say or do.
We're supposed to hear something debatably today from Newsom, but also it is a holiday, so we might be hearing something tomorrow that are basically like, here's the guidelines to be able to go back to doing any kind of production. But the main thing, I think, like anything, it's going to be about here's what each separate county can do. Like here's what each county needs to be able to do to go back. And LA County covers a lot, so chances are there's other places in the state that will be able to go back to some kind of production, whereas LA, which covers Burbank and Glendale and all the places where a lot of filming happens, will not be ready to go yet.
Yeah.
What is as of right now, July 4th date that I keep hearing then, though? July 4th. Are you guys hearing that?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. No, I don't even know what that is.
It sounds like a great date to throw some propaganda to try to reopen the country. That's what it's not, just like Easter was a few months ago at this point.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But in terms of DC, we are doing DC Daily from home, which has actually been awesome. That a few weeks after lockdown, our producers were like, hey, let's figure this out. They sent me like an Ethernet cable that's super long so that I could, do stuff from home, and we record and upload and have been doing episodes and even interviews, which is great. I got to talk to John Wesley Shipp, who plays the Flash.
Oh, of course, that's amazing.
And it was like, that dude I didn't know how much I thought of him as like a hero of mine. And we got to talk to him, and everybody we're talking to on DC, we kind of tend to ask something along the lines of like, what would you like to say to your fans right now in this weird time? And then John Wesley Shipp had this amazing message where I was like, I feel better. Like, oh my God, I feel.
Yeah, he had that way. I got to talk to him for Screen Junkies. We did this show briefly. Oh, Hector, you were on, I'm pretty sure, Flash and Friends.
Probably. Yeah.
Where we talked about Flash and Friends. But he came on and was just like this ray of joy, of like wisdom and light. That's like, this is why you embody what comic books are and need to be around in everything.
Right. I put him in the same category as Christopher Reeve's Superman, Linda Carter Wonder Woman, like these actors who have, and even kind of like Chris Evans Cap, these actors who have embodied like trying to be just such a good person.
Right.
That their character, that they take that responsibility seriously. They're so good to their fans. They understand what it means to people, and they're just like, they seem like they're good people. So yeah, that was great.
Speaking of other things that you guys are working on that I haven't checked in, and I don't know if you guys can talk about this, so then punch me if you can't. El Rey stuff. Are we filming? Where are we at with that?
Cam?
We are. So we had started filming up again around beginning of March, and so end of March.
It's a good time to start filming something. Am I right?
Yeah, man, jump right into it. Thank God. Woo! But obviously, when all this started, we were put on hold, And so now we're kind of in a wait and see pattern.
Gotcha. Well, I can't wait to watch you guys on TV and on the internets and all the places where you're doing all of the work. Because you're both two of my favorite human beings to watch. And I'm glad that you're here today, live at the Roxy. And I know that you guys at home are glad that they're there today, here today, there. You're here and there. And have questions for them and comments and all that great stuff. So let's get to some of them. First things first, y'all. Larry Lee says, hit that like button. Feeling blah today. Definitely hit that like button. Sorry you're feeling blah today. I don't know about you guys, but I certainly have had some blah days during quarantine. They're better than the days, but they are not as good as the days. Are you guys going? Are you doing a little bit of a wave? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Certain things have definitely helped, though. Certain things have definitely helped.
What do you find is helping?
I think like trying to find like calm things like Legos. I've been doing Legos, and puzzles and stuff like that.
Great.
And I mean, to be honest too, I think also having, because I'm doing the AEW stuff with Jen, so having that kind of like something to do that is like a gig. It's not even about a paycheck thing. It's just being able to kind of like, I'm somebody that likes working. So the only like time I kind of had a mild mild panic thing was when it was like, oh, it's going to be a while till we're back to any kind of work. Because when we weren't doing El Rey, I at least had like photo shoots and stuff like that. And so obviously
I still think you should be doing photo shoots via Zoom. I'm seeing all the celebs that are doing this. I will be your subject.
I am too. I will say, like I've been doing some distance shoots that have been working out.
That's great. Good.
Very well, which is like outdoors. Sometimes it's like using people's windows as like a framing kind of a thing. Cool. Or I shot with Yale and she was in her pool area and I had a zoom lens. Great. So doing stuff like that. But having little gigs, having the AEW thing with Jen and stuff like that's been helpful.
And how is AEW, Cam? How's that going?
I mean, me and Jen are kind of working in a bit of a cocoon, which is cool. You know what I mean? Like we don't have a lot of like, we're not getting notes and stuff like that. Like it's pretty much just me and her. And then I send it off and the only communication I have is with their social team when I send the video off after I edit it.
Right. Well, I think that's better than getting a ton of notes during this time.
Oh. If I got a bunch of notes, I'd be like, what are you doing?
This is the least receptive to notes I've ever been in my life. Which doesn't make me sound like somebody that you want to hire, but like, I don't know. Just let me be. Like, I tried.
Yeah. Are you just sending emails back like, nah, pandemic, send. Like
or just the thumbs up emoji, which is the most passive aggressive thing.
But yes, because like if this is what I gave you, this is the best I can do. Because that's who I am. So I am giving you the best I can do. But like people who are writing back things like, do you have a green screen? Well, if I had a green screen, then I would have used it. So if you want to send me one,
big thank you to Hyper RPG for giving me mine that I'm working on right now.
Wait, what is behind you? What do we got going on? So
I'm so bummed because like for whatever reason this thing closed up. It's supposed to be, I don't even know if turning this will actually work or just show. Yeah, the turning it did shit. It's supposed to be Gotham City.
Cool.
It's Batman the Animated Series Gotham City.
I can tell. Yeah. Well, there we go. You're right in Gotham, baby. You're like the new Batwoman.
Yeah, this yellow is supposed to be the bat signal. It was all cool. I was all excited to show it off.
I still think it's cool. It just kind of looks more like a Picasso. Like it looks like the yellow, I don't know, a piece of a face next to you. And just, it's working.
Is that Starry Night, bro? Is that Starry Night? That's classy, bro. Cool.
Yeah, real Van Gogh shit.
Hector, you know that I'm not doing particularly well because I've been thinking for the last week about painting Starry Night. This has been something that I've been like Googling to make Starry Night.
Here's the thing. I got some bad news. Somebody already painted it. So there would really be no reason for you to do that particular painting. It's already been done.
But what if I do it in pink?
Oh,
just wondering.
Man,
just curious.
Do it in blacklight paint.
Whoa, cool. But that I don't own. Pink I have. I was like, how to make Starry Night? It's Starry Night in multiple shades of pink. It didn't come up anywhere.
Also, all you own is pink.
Well, I have pink and white and black, which makes many shades of pink. I feel like I could probably go for some kind of almost magenta. Does that count as a different color?
Do it. Go for it.
Second question, do you have a canvas?
Yeah, no, I think so. So here's what happened. Like 3 years ago, my friend was leaving, and maybe 2 years ago, my friend was leaving LA because, people do that. I feel like there's no other city in the country or maybe the world, but then again, this could be an ignorant comment where you say it like that. Like my friend was leaving LA, but you guys know people come and go from LA, and you leave for good. Yeah. Something, whatever. So anyway, he was leaving LA. It was one of those big, I'm leaving Los Angeles things. And when I went over to his place, he had painting stuff and was like, I'm going to throw this out. And I was like, I could use it.
There's nothing better than the friend move out where you're like, you get rid of this?
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm a hoarder. So all of my friends should know not to give me anything.
Marie Kondo? Have you seen Marie Kondo on Netflix?
I will not watch because I will not be shamed.
It's not about shame? Oh, Roxy, you must watch it. I don't know who pitched it to you. Somebody pitched it to you wrong. It'll help.
I know it will. I suck at this stuff. So for multiple years under
Marie
my bed.
will help.
Marie, she doesn't know what kind of case she's working with.
Yes, she does. She's worked them all.
Well, I've had this under the bed. So I haven't looked, but I remember there being pink paint, and I remember there being some kind of thing to paint on. It's been under my bed for years. So I don't know, paint's probably dry, but maybe not.
Maybe not.
We don't know. So she'll look into it. And by she, I mean,
you got to do it. Got to do it.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted. Glenn Caesar said, well, before you read it, I just read it. Just FYI, I already said Happy Memorial Day to you all in my Patreon question. Oh, okay. Am I Ebenezer Scrooge now? How do you say his first name? This Jew does not understand it. Ebenezer?
Nope, that's wrong.
Ebenezer.
Yep.
Why do I always feel like everybody uses it?
I don't know. Because I
don't
know why you feel that way.
It's Ebenezer. Maybe because the Scrooge. I feel like everybody's Ebenezer Scrooge is how I think I've been saying it.
You were about to say the Nebuchadnezzar for a second.
Yeah. I feel like it could also be a harder G in Scrooge also. Because you're doing it very soft. It's very beautiful. You're like Scrooge.
Yeah,
Scrooge.
What did you say?
Scrooge with a hard G.
I feel like you're putting a D in there.
That kind of is true. There is kind of is one in there, yeah.
Oh, it's Scrooge.
That close, yeah.
Like Scrooge McDuck.
I have a lot of experience with this because my mom is from Mexico and she has a wonderful, beautiful accent. But since I've been a kid, I've been the person in the family to tell her the difference between share and chair because there's in Spanish there's less of a difference with those kinds of sounds and those kinds of examples. So I think you got it now. Ebenezer Scrooge.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Nailed it.
You found it. There
really
it is.
Good. Mm-hmm. There are certain things that part doesn't have to do with me being from Boston. That just has to do with me not understanding Christmas movies. But
listen, there's some words. Hector knows. There's been times on the El Rey set where I'm like, I changed that word. I can't say that shit.
Yeah. Also, I just found out I've been saying chimney wrong my entire life.
What have you been saying?
I've been saying chimney. It's 2 syllables. Chimney.
Oh, I thought you were trying to say chimney.
Mary Poppins taught me wrong.
Chimney.
You know how world superstar Jackie Chan, his name is Jackie, and he's like a 70-year-old man. And that's because it's impossible to say Jack Chan without saying the little key in there because of the way that flows. Chan. It's kind of impossible. You just said Jackie Chan.
Jack Chan.
You just said Jackie Chan again.
I don't feel like I did.
You definitely did, though. You definitely are.
Cam, you say it.
Jack Chan.
He just said Jackie Chan. See, so I feel like superstar.
What are you hearing?
Actor Jackie decided not to fight it.
Is this gold dress, blue dress?
Yeah, he did not fight it. So he's like, I'll just be Jackie for my whole life and as a grown man. So I feel like I was just trying to say chimney and bridge the gap between chim and knee because that goes from an M to an N. I feel like there's got to be a vowel in there somewhere. It's too harsh.
I do February in a way that makes people uncomfortable. But
people want you fired. They're like having Roxy around.
People go, "Where are you from?" That kind of thing.
Yeah, because that's what February.
We got some people in the chat coming to your defense, Roxy. Gregory Castillo says, "Nah, Roxy didn't say it." And Pink Sweets said, neither of them said it. Hector can't hear. LOL. I challenge. Say it again. Try it again.
Subtly, says Weston.
Jack Chan. There it is again. I heard Jackie Chan.
I don't know why you're hearing that.
Because you gotta say it like it's an 80s cop show. Jack Chan.
Okay, I didn't hear it then. Yeah.
Topher Grace has a similar story. Why was he Toph Grace?
Because he was Chris Grace, maybe Christopher Grace. Chris Grace might be hard to say.
Chris Grace.
Chrissy Grace maybe would turn into Chrissy Grace.
Wait a second. Are you telling me
Roxy.
that Topher is a nickname for Christopher?
Yes, Roxy.
Or Josepher.
No, it is 1000% another way to say Christopher is Topher. He said this in his SNL monologue when he hosted Saturday Night Live in like 2004.
Where was I?
Where were you in 2004? I don't know.
Such a good question.
Middle school? I don't know. High school?
I was in high school.
Okay.
I was in my junior year.
I was in my freshman year, so I was tearing shit up. I got alcohol poisoning twice that year.
Oh my god! and that is a Boston thing, right? That is a Boston thing.
Yeah, that wasn't ideal. Boston, like they'll give you one, but on the second time, they're not too stoked by that.
Gotcha.
Topher Grace is Mark Ellis. That's true. Topher's real name was Disney Grace.
No.
Topher is a nickname for Disney?
No, it's not.
No.
Bagel Boy, who has the avatar of the Ultimate Warrior, is messing with you.
Wow. Topher's name is Christopher. You didn't know either. Let's jump over to the Patreon, guys, because I know we had some questions in there for my boys.
Here we go. Here it is.
Oh my God, you said that like I was about to hit you with something real. Like,
yeah. Cameron's like, here we go. Here comes the controversy.
Here we go, guys. This is the big one. This is the way that we go out.
It's either going to be about politics or Snyder Cut. These are the two.
Well, this one is not, because Maddie B just wants to know what everyone's favorite donut flavor is. So unless this is the thing that really sinks you, controversial.
Chocolate glaze on regular.
I just had from, I forget the name of the place, Donut something. I just had, oh crap, my cat's up on the thing. Cakey.
Wait, also, is your cat's name Cakey?
Cakey, that's correct. Yeah.
Cakey and Shoe.
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh my God.
They're named after foods. Choux is named after choux à la crème, which is some kind of a dish, I've been told. My favorite.
If you get a third cat, you just gotta be like, hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. Like sausage. Your little chubby cat that's like, give me the garbage. Get out of here, sausage. Get out of here.
Why did he sound like that? Garbage. Huh? Give it to me.
Give me the garbage. Because he's like that raccoon. It's like a circular raccoon meme. It's really funny.
Tell me about the donut place that you went to?
Yes, I think it's Donut King or something that.
Why are all donut places have the word donut in them? That's like a thing that happens at donut places only.
It's branding. My favorite is peanut butter and jelly. That's amazing. Like some kind of a glazed donut, and then in the middle they put peanut butter and jelly and maybe some other stuff, but it's so good. I think that might even just be it.
But with peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that sounds actually pretty good, because I will say for many years I've not liked jelly donuts. There's something about I grew up with Dunkin' Donuts, very simple. And we would go get those munchkins. And for some reason, and you guys tell me if you used to do this too, I have no idea why this is a thing. But I grew up playing sports, and at halftime of all of our games, you would go and eat a bunch of donuts. And then you would go play the second half of the game.
Awesome.
I don't know why that was. I'm talking about like from ages 4 to 13. I
get donuts after the game. The halfway was always like orange slices and like maybe a juice. Like I can't imagine scarfing down some dozens and then trying to go play football. Sugar rush through your body.
I remember the jelly donut holes would get me like very sick. If you are eating those and then running, you're not in good shape.
Well, that's your problem right there, Roxy. I think they're forcing you to do strenuous physical activity. Yeah, right after eating donuts. Here, there's a great comment in the chat from Bagel Boy. Bagel Boy said, "Donuts rule!" All caps. I did not expect that from somebody named Bagel Boy.
Ooh,
I would have
well,
thought that they
can
would
I
have.
tell you why this is happening?
Why?
Bagel Boy is actually an insult because there is a guy in our space who is a deer named Ben Goddard. And one time he talked about how he stole a bagel and they gave him the nickname Bagel Boy, which he really doesn't like, but people use it anyway. And so this guy's handle is Bagel Boy, but it has nothing to do with liking bagels. It's just teasing. It's teasing Ben. I think it's pretty funny, but I'm not allowed to say that.
You gotta love it when people design an entire online persona after a bit. You gotta love it, and then they stick to it.
I mean, it's dedication for sure.
Great. It's great.
Really be mad about it. Let's see. Katie chiming in. Katie Robinson. Sorry about YouTube being done with monetization. Maybe we could all replay all the videos on silent while doing other things. Hope it's a better day. So yesterday, I learned that I have not been monetizing my YouTube videos for 2 months. It happened because when I switched to this system, StreamYard, it automatically demonetizes you unless you click otherwise, which I did not know, because why would I know that? And the fact that YouTube does that is the sneakiest. I know I'm on their platform right now, but that is the sneakiest shit I have ever heard. You should have to click demonetize, not monetize. No shit, I want to be monetized.
Especially right now in this time.
Yeah. So, but because you don't get your payments for 2 months, because that's how YouTube's like back ordered, I didn't know until all of a sudden I was like, huh? So
sorry.
It is what it's one of these things during these times. What are you going to do? I'm going to shake it off and move forward. But
are we monetized now? We're monetized now, though?
Now monetized.
Good.
You're now monetized.
We're bringing you that money.
Cam, we got to make a good episode, man. Come on, Cam. What are we doing? We're letting her down. Come on.
No, you guys are being great. But everybody was like, can't you write them an email? And I was like, no.
YouTube? No, yeah, they're good at that. They're really good at responding to emails.
No, I can't. So it just is what it is. My least favorite thing in life is when something is what it is. I don't like that. I'm a fighter. So don't give me it is what it is. Give me something that I have like a percentage chance at.
Then you know what, Roxy? Then you should write them an email. It is after the fact, but you should write them an email and go, this is really shady, and I don't feel like this is helping. Just play it by their rules, right? Do the thing where you go, listen, I'm a creator, I'm a YouTube creator, and I'm using your platform, and I think it's great, but this really hurt me. And I'm letting my friends know, and I'm letting my people know that this thing happened to me, and this is something you guys should fix on your end. And whenever I do that bullshit, at least it makes me feel better. When you at least send if you send the email and go, it is what it is, but at least I did something. And if this company or whoever still wants to be a dick, that's on them. I said my piece, and then that's all I could do.
This is kind of like, okay, I did that for the other day for a different thing. I had ordered a gift for a friend, and you know how via Amazon Prime, if you want to use your Prime, like it gives dates in which something can be ordered. So you can click the day that's the 2 day, or for some reason there was a date that was a month in the future. And obviously I am under the impression that I clicked the 2 day one, but they were like, you clicked the one that's a month in the future. And I was like, why the fuck would I want to send myself something in a month that I could send in 2 days? Why is that an option?
I guess in case you want to cancel, if you're like, ooh, big money, but I might not get those checks, send it to me in a month.
you have 30 minutes to cancel. 30 minutes to cancel. There is
I thought you could cancel as long as it didn't ship.
I don't know. It said on there because I tried to cancel it because I said, I don't want this in a month. I will just reorder it. Let me cancel. And they said it's already been processed. What the fuck?
It's a bummer.
And I'm sure they're right. I'm sure I did click the wrong button because we're in quarantine and my brain isn't working. No, I don't want this in a month. Why is that an option?
Yeah, it's not the best.
So frustrating. What?
Well, look at it like this. Maybe, hopefully it wasn't something that you super needed. And
no, it wasn't. It was something. It was a present for a friend.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Well, give it to them. They'll be happy.
Yeah, and the good thing is that you maybe also gave a break to like an Amazon warehouse worker because they didn't have to get that immediately, and they could, eventually get to it in a month. I don't know.
Yes, that is why I did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Trying to fight the power.
Just paint. Send your friend a painting.
You did it as an FU to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Bezos, we coming for you.
I'll use your website, but I'm not getting this for a month.
Well, that's like me right now with YouTube. I'm like, am I allowed to talk shit about YouTube?
Yeah, that's fine.
There's YouTube videos out there that are people criticizing YouTube.
Yeah.
They're listening.
I mean, they probably are. It's Google, but
they should be listening to fix the thing and make your people happy. Roxy Strier's sad. Why would you do that?
I'm not happy. Why did you demonetize me? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to make less money on the planet. That's a fact.
The only time you would want to click demonetize is if you have like copywritten music so that you don't get sued.
Yes, which I don't because I use copyright free stuff. All right, going back into the Patreon, patreon.com/Roxy Strier. Weston Ira says, hashtag unleash the, okay, he's trying to make a ship name for all three of us.
Cool.
Camerectoxy cut. Okay, it's like the Snyder cut, but the Camerectoxy cut. Good.
Yeah, you know what? Put that cut out. It'll probably be really nice.
I think it's this right now.
Yeah, this is the Camerectoxy cut. Yeah. There's got to be a better way to say that. But Weston wants to know, did you guys just see I spit? Could you see that?
No.
Wow. Really came out. It was a
lot.
It was enough that I felt like I had to acknowledge it.
You're like that video of that guy who's yelling in his car.
It's like still on my lip, maybe. All right, Weston said, what character from Star Wars would make the most interesting member of the Legends of Tomorrow? Wow, we're really cross-branding? Whatever. Cool, be nerdy. So which character from Star Wars for Legend of Tomorrow? Legend of Tomorrow, they've got a bunch of weirdos. They got a bunch of nuts.
But they're mostly human.
You know what? I'm going to go Slice Noodle.
He's got to stay on the ship.
Noodle.
He's got to stay on the ship.
Oh, I wish
he's the keyboardist?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Keyboardist for the Jedi. Yeah, man. Slice Noodle.
Every time I think, I'm not that big of a Star Wars guy, am I? I hear something like that, and I'm like, I know exactly who that is. Damn it. Damn it. How do I know that?
I don't know.
He's the little blue puppet that's
I know. I know. When I love Star Wars, but you could name if it's not one of the people that is the biggest three in that movie, I don't know their name. I don't know their name. It's not the way my brain works. Oh, interesting suggestion. C3PO or CP3.
CP3. They need a talking robot.
Sure. What do you got, Hector?
I got young Lando, specifically the Donald Glover Lando.
I know who that is.
He'd be sleeping with everybody. Man, woman, robot, any creature on that ship.
Constantine. That's what's up.
He's hooking up with Constantine. He's hooking up with White Canary. He's hooking up with everybody on that ship.
What do you think about this suggestion? Also, thank you for having your handle be Roxy. I want a nickname Strier. That is true about me. I want one. Jabba the Hutt.
You'd have to give him his own room. Also, that room probably smells bad.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
We're going to few Ahsokas.
You know what? Honestly, Babu Frick. Get Babu Frick in there.
Yay! Fixing the ship. Yeah,
he's helping the ship.
Yeah.
What is this? Cy Snoodles is the singer. Max Rebo is the keyboard.
Oh, you're right.
Player.
You're right.
Oh.
Yep. You know what?
Jokes on you guys.
I was wrong. I guess I'm not a Star Wars nerd. All right. Well done, Internet.
I wrote
me feel better.
I am Ryan Kramer, and I just corrected you guys through the chat. So
I'm fine with it. Go for
it. What happened. Let's go back into the Patreon. Glenn Caesar said, hello, Roxy, Hector, and Cameron. Happy Monday and Memorial Day. It's great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining Roxy and virtually hanging out with us today. Glad you're both members of the Rockstar Band. This question is for all three of you. If you could each pick one of your favorite video games or comic books, if that's easier, to be adapted into a TV series or movie, which would it be, and who's the main character, and what's the storyline of
Oh my God!
Is this a Hollywood exec? Is this a Hollywood executive?
Pay me, bro. Pay me.
If I knew the answer, I would be making more money than I am right now, and not be worried about monetizing my YouTube videos. But okay, let's try. Maybe we can try like a combined thing. Favorite video game or comic book. Which video game character or comic book do we feel like could be adapted into a TV series or movie that isn't already? Any thoughts?
I mean, really all of them.
More likely TV series because we've seen that's worked better with video games.
Yeah, but I think that's because Hollywood hasn't done the due diligence for the video game movies, you know? For every bad movie, they say that there's for every like Prince of Persia, which is like, I didn't see it, but it's one of those that had a big budget, or Assassin's Creed had a big budget or whatever. Like
Assassin's Creed was not good.
Yeah. And it's like those movies have big budgets, and I think they fail just because like they don't have good scripts. They don't have good marketing around them. You know, they're kind of thought of as just being comic book movies. So I feel like studios are like, well, it doesn't have to be great. It can just be kind of crappy. And there's something to that. Like, they know what the genre is. And yet again, Disney bought Marvel with the intention of like, we're going to make good movies that appeal to massive audiences and make a bunch of money. And the people making Guardians of the Galaxy, they don't treat it like some whatever crap, dumb thing. Like, they try to make it good. So I think that the scripts have failed them. And then I think every time we talk about how there hasn't been any good video game movies, I feel like because nobody's honestly tried to make one that's real.
Yeah.
The closest.
Let me ask you this, Hector, because I am under the impression that nobody is out to make a bad movie. I don't think anybody's like, I want to make something that isn't good.
I don't think anyone wants to make anything bad, but I think you can be lazy.
They can settle. I think people set out to settle. I think they get, we got The Rock. What is this? Rampage? Done. And it's like, that's the extent of the work. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're like, this will just be fun. And I think people that make the movie, and truly people that kind of watch the movie, they sort of settle. Everybody's sort of settling for like, that's pretty good for a video game movie. And that's
you guys love Sonic like I did, though. Did it move you at all?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I really liked that one.
I'm glad.
I hated it.
But I heard similar things with Detective Pikachu, which I did watch.
I didn't see that.
And Detective Pikachu kind of bummed me out because there were so many good things about it. And then to me, there was like a pretty lazy like script and lazy villain motivation and lazy sort of story. And a lot of it was banking on, we really hope audiences like Ryan Reynolds as a movie star, and he's the voice of a really cute character. Because to me, I'm going, you can't look at Detective Pikachu and go, yeah, the Pokemon can't really work as a movie, because that's not really Pokemon. That's not a movie studio truly committing. Look at when they made Harry Potter. Warner Brothers put so much freaking money and talent into adapting a kid's book. And the kid's book was already a phenomenon. I get it. But Pokemon is the most successful IP on the history of this planet. And that Pokemon IP makes more money than anything. True? Yes, than anything has ever made money as an IP.
That's true.
Pokemon has made the most. Yes.
Pokemon is number one.
And they still treat it. The thing makes billions a year. And there's no movies. It's just video games and merchandise. And they still treated it as, and I'm not saying it's the American movie studio, because I've heard that it was also Nintendo of Japan that made this call for them to be like, don't do full on Pokemon. Just do this side thing, Detective Pikachu, and we'll see how that goes. And if it's a hit, then we'll do more. But if not, then it doesn't damage our brand and we're safe and blah, 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 blah. So to me, I'm like, y'all are settling. Everybody's settling.
Yeah.
And there should be
a version of Pokemon that's like
yes,
Broadway
it's Harry
show.
Potter.
No.
I should have waited until you finished that sentence, Roxy. No.
You should know that the answer to my question is always going to be no, don't think that. Because that's what I want. I want a musical Pokemon, Lion King-esque, with everybody walking out on stilts and a Pikachu.
Here's what I want. Do you remember the scene in Jurassic Park where they came across the sick Triceratops?
Yes.
And it was a big animatronic Stan Winston creation that was breathing. I want that, but Snorlax in a Pokemon movie.
See, that's what I meant to say.
I just want a movie studio to look at a video game property and
I want Laura Dern to dig through some Pokemon shit, trying to find out what poisoned that Pokemon.
Why is Snorlax poisoned?
Snorlax.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one coming from Marcus because we hear it thrown out a lot of times. Zelda. What do you guys think? What should happen with
Zelda? Be a no-brainer. It would be a no-brainer. If it were up to me, I would base it on what I think is the most sort of like accessible and kind of mainstream Zelda game, because they're all different and it's a really interesting video game franchise. But I would do Ocarina of Time. I would make it The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and make it a very straightforward fantasy. And you make sure that the set design, if it's not to the quality of Peter Jackson and Weta for The Lord of the Rings, then make it to the quality of Guillermo del Toro and his visual. Like, you just need to have such a strong, like art team come in and do something amazing with it. And it's not to knock the art teams that have worked on the video games, because those are all amazing, but you have to hire the really talented movie makers and get them passionate about the thing and get them to understand how big of a deal it is and how cool it would be to do a Legend of Zelda movie and do it right and have everybody bring their A game. And then it would be awesome. that would be a wonderful choice.
And I think it's taking like an actual earnest approach. Like my issues with the Sonic movie were, in all honesty, it did not seem any different than Alvin and the Chipmunks or any of the other movies that are like, here's CGI creature character with some actors you recognize, and the whole point is, I'm lonely. Actually, let's be friends. But he's gonna do a Fortnite dance. He's gonna do some rap shit. He's gonna do Pee Wee Herman shit. And I'm just sitting there going,
the Smurfs. That's the Smurfs,
it's the Smurfs
too.
movie.
That's
so
but
cute.
It got a free pass because everyone's like, well, I like video games. And people don't.
I don't even
shit.
like video games that much.
No, I know, but generally, and also, I'll say this. I'm sorry. A lot of people worked hard on that movie. It was made by people who had friends in the industry. Like, it was written by people who have a podcast, and also people who shit all over Alvin and the Chipmunks, Smurfs, and all these other movies that they call lazy and lame with fart jokes for little children. Were like, this one was pretty good. This one had some heart. And I'm like, is it because someone you knew worked on it?
Well, I didn't know anybody, and I thought it had heart. So
well, the heart to me was, and this is not to tell you, like, if that's how you felt, 100%. To me, it felt like Lazy Heart, which was to say that there's my Mel Gibson movie, Lazy Heart.
Yeah, it was not.
You can't bother to get up. It's the most like everything, and this is my issue sometimes with kids movies. Is I think kids movies, when you watch like Miyazaki and stuff like that, they can be a lot deeper. And I think because they're kids movies, they're treated like they're kiddie table movies, which people are like, well, you know how Sonic feels because he verbally says it. He says it. He says, I'm sad. And then he's not sad anymore. He has a character arc because he's literally says it. Whereas if you watch like Miyazaki and Pixar films, those movies really are elevated because it's like there's that degree of, oh, you're going to watch the emotion on these characters' face. They didn't have to write it down in a note so that another actor could find the note and go, there's his motivation.
I loved it.
That's great.
I hear you.
Roxy,
it wasn't original. It wasn't
Right.
the most original thing I'd ever seen.
No.
It moved my little heart.
Yeah.
It made
I'm
me go,
glad you
"Oh."
liked it. I'm glad people
you.
liked Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I'm glad people liked Rampage, which I also thought was like a pretty fun time at the movie theater.
It was fun.
I want these movies to succeed in the same way that look, I got my magic wish. When I was a kid, I loved comic books, and to me, those worlds were real, and I treated them real. In my imagination, they came alive. They were serious. It was amazing. They were epic. And eventually, Hollywood caught on and started to do them. And the first couple of them, some of them were pretty good, and some of them were bad. I'm talking the early aughts.
Yeah, video game movies right now for me are where comic book movies were in like the mid '90s, where we're still getting Steel.
Yeah, we're still getting the ones where they're like, okay, we'll do Blade, but it's not really a comic book movie. This is just a straight up vampire badass rated R film. And I'm like, that's cool. But it wasn't until the technology caught up, which were already there for today. So comic book superhero movies had to wait for some of the technology to catch up outside of Batman and Superman.
But do you think everyone thinks they have the technology at the time? Like, remember when we were using, I don't know, flip phones, and we were like, the technology's there, but it really wasn't. Like,
I don't know, because I think the '90s. I like how Cameron brought that up. I think that was a really great experimental, like, people at the forefront of movie special effects. People like James Cameron and George Lucas and shit. Like, they knew what they could and couldn't do. James Cameron knew that I could have a CG character in my movie Terminator 2, but he'll have to be chrome. Because that's kind of where the limitations
have
are.
To be chrome, and also understanding like, okay, we can't do this yet with the computer. So at that point, it's got to be a Stan Winston head that opens up in the elevator.
Right. And so I think those folks knew what they had. I think some movies, just like today, the special effects are used good and bad. The only time we complain about them is when they're noticeable. But like Spawn is a movie that has awful CG.
Oh man,
because that's all they could do with that budget, and it has a very ambitious world where you go into hell and you see demons and shit. If that movie were made today and had the same or higher budget, of course it's going to look amazing. It's going to look better. And I feel like special effects people know then versus today what we're capable of. I just think that in the same way it took kind of a generation of filmmakers to grow up with comic books and love them and and like understand their value. People like a Joss Whedon who grew up reading X-Men comics by Chris Claremont. So when he got to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he's like, a lot of Buffy's based on Kitty Pryde from the X-Men. And then when he got to do stuff for Marvel, he's like, I know what to do for this Avengers movie. Right. And whether I do it or not, the sequel has to have Ultron. And whether I do it or not, I'm going to plant the seed for Thanos. Like, he had that comic book brain of knowing what that world's supposed to be. I think we needed to wait, and it's kind of happening now, but not all the way, for a generation of filmmakers, Hollywood people, to understand what video games are and how you can access those worlds. Jordan Vogt Roberts, who did Kong Skull Island, and he's doing Metal Gear Solid, he's one of those guys. Or Edgar Wright gets video games. He had to convince Nintendo to let him use the Zelda theme in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. At first, they were like, no. And he had to convince them and go, this theme is a lullaby to a generation. Please let me use it. So
I think it's also, I think it's also going to be about like knowing, because the biggest issue I think a lot of video game movies have right now is they're taking video games that already have stories and then they're just trying to do the story. And that's it. No comic book movie's doing that. No comic book movie is just straight up going like, no, just do the exact comic.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
And when they do, it kind of doesn't work. They're looking at 40, 50 years of comic book history or more.
And going, I'll take that and that and that.
And distilling it. And I feel like whoever makes a Mario movie, whoever makes a Zelda movie, whoever makes the first Pokemon movie, look at what the whole thing has to offer and really plan long-term for like, what if this becomes a franchise? What can we do to excite each new entry? Save Super Mario for the sequel, save Raccoon Mario, Tanuki Mario for part 3, whatever. Save Wario for the third movie, but still find a way to like distill what that essence is and put it into a movie and have a good, fun script. Mario should be an action comedy. Zelda should be a fantasy that's kind of all ages. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Metroid should be a cool PG-13 alien film for kids, basically. That's what Metroid should. That would be awesome. And Star Fox should hire the Henson Company, and you should just do puppets in cockpits of fighter.
Get the Dark Crystal people.
Dude, get the Dark Crystal people.
And you think all movies? You think all this should be movies, not series?
Correct. Because I think they deserve to be movies. I think series are great, but every time we get something like Witcher or, people go, or even like comic book shows that are good, and I love me some good comic book shows, people automatically go, yeah, exactly. These kinds of projects, comic books and video games would lend themselves better to a serialized format. And I go, no, I think that certain IPs that we grew up with, comic books and video games, deserve a big budget, huge movie. They, if there's a movie that's called Thor Ragnarok, you should be able to do Super Mario 2. Like that should also be a movie. That's, to me, those are the same. Like I love both of those things the same amount. So they deserve that stuff. And when you get into TV, I love that TV thing, but it's like I don't know. I just would love to see.
I mean, for the exception of Watchmen,
I love that TV thing.
I mean, except for the exception of Watchmen, every other TV thing, everyone goes, "Oh, this series is great." Blah blah blah. There's 2 episodes in the middle you can skip.
Yeah, that does happen often. It does. Let's get into some of these Streamlabs questions, guys, because happy Memorial Day. So,
number one, fuck you, Cameron. Sonic is the best.
Also, Cameron, Sonic rules. All right. Let's see. The Beard Man. Beer is capitalized, just so you guys know.
Good.
3 of my favorite people. I would love to see Roxy guest on 500 Greatest Films podcast. Cool.
That's already.
I killed it. I killed the show.
No.
What happened?
Cameron engineered a virus and created a worldwide pandemic. So
I was on the last episode before the pandemic.
Wait, were you really, Cameron? No.
Yeah, Mulholland Drive.
I think that was the last episode.
Wow.
That's crazy.
This, Cam. You did
Well, Roxy, I reached out to you before and we're going to do it, but right now we are taking a hiatus because we can't have I want to have a guest over. And we'll eventually get back to it.
I'm in when we're back. So
you got it.
We'll figure it out then. Gingerbread says, I legit never knew Topher was short for Christopher. Same. And then said, white people. Stop it, LOL. Just nickname him Chris. Anyway, what's a darker film you guys don't mind rewatching? I just watched The Pianist for the 4th time. Demon director, beautiful film.
Pianist. I was like, The Pianist. I don't know what The Pianist.
No, I told you I pronounce things weird. Is that not how you say it? Pianist?
No, Pianist. You said it right. It was my hearing. No, you're right. We actually, this was a subject on an episode of El Rey Nation. I have no problem rewatching dark shit. Like, there's no movie. The movie has to be bad for me to go like, I'm not interested. But if the movie's like fucked up, but it was good, I'll be like, cool. Let me put that on again.
Oh, I am not that way. What is that Adam Sandler movie that came out last year? Uncut Gems. I watched it once, and it was a fantastic film. I am never seeing that again.
I loved it.
Oh, anything that makes me feel icky inside, I don't want to do. There's only one movie that I rewatch that is dark and it twisted, and that movie is Schindler's List. And I watch that all the time because I've told you guys before, I think, anytime I'm feeling bratty or like my day was horrible, I
put on this 3-hour movie.
I put it on to remind myself, shut the fuck up, bitch. No joke. Because first of all, those are my people, but also just shut the fuck up that you are annoyed that you got a flat tire today. So just don't. So that's my perspective movie. It's one of the darkest movies I've ever seen. But that's my perspective one. So that's the only one I really go back to. Hector, what do you do?
I think I'm like you, Roxy. I don't have too many of these. Cameron knows that also. And it also depends on the context. If it's a movie like Old Boy, which I know is good, the original, I haven't seen the Spike Lee one. And if like Old Boy is on the movie podcast list that I'm going through, or if someone's like, hey, we're going to watch Old Boy, and if I can like psych myself up to it, then fine. Then I'm fine. Let's do it. But I saw somebody in the chat, Andrew Thomas, said, I also enjoy It Chapter 2 and Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep had some pretty fucked up imagery.
I didn't see it. I didn't see that movie.
Love that movie. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. And I'm not even a huge The Shining guy. And The Shining movie is great, but I don't love it the way a lot of people love it. But I saw Dr. Sleep and I was so impressed. I'm like, I want to rewatch it now. Keller got it and it comes with a director's cut. Yeah. And we watched the theatrical cut and I'm like, dude, I'm down to watch the director's cut whenever, because Dr. Sleep is cool.
I heard such mixed reviews on it. Is there a reason?
Highly recommend.
That? Really?
Well, I guess it would depend on where you heard them from. Because here's the thing. It's very much, because did you watch Haunting of Hill House, Rox?
No.
I think you would love it. It's great. I know you're living alone right now, but I would say watch it. It's the same.
I was up till 4 a.m. last night because I thought I heard somebody outside of my window. No one was there. I checked 17 times.
Then definitely watch the spooky show.
Watch it during the day.
Yeah, same writer and director, but also it's honestly like I thought it was a very beautiful moving show. That I love that it plays with perspective and stuff like that. But same writer and director, and I think so. This is a perfect example of the difference between TV and film. I think like TV, we're more willing to let things like play out and moments be slower and build and things like that. I think movies, and I love a lot of these movies, but I think things like the Conjuring universe and stuff like that have gotten us used to it. A horror movie is something comes out and goes, and like screams and runs towards the camera in some fast motion. That's not what a lot of horror movies were in the Shining era, and that's not what Dr. Sleep is. Dr. Sleep is not a thing coming out fast motion, running towards the camera as the music goes, so the audience goes, so we can watch that night vision when an audience screams and then laughs and they're holding each other. That's not Dr. Sleep. So I think there's a lot of people who are like, it's boring. And I'm like, no, it's suspenseful.
Yeah, that B word is a word that I heard often with it. I don't even like to say it.
It's long, and I was like engrossed the entire. It's like 2.5 hours long or something, and I was like in it the whole way. I thought it was great.
Okay, well then maybe it's worth my time. Then maybe
give it a poke. Give it a poke.
Let's go.
If you haven't seen it in a while, give The Shining a rewatch.
Yes. Okay, I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah. Give that a rewatch, and then I think you'll enjoy it more.
But again, in the daytime.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if there is a tiny creek, I'm up for hours.
Yeah.
Hours. There were birds chirping when I went to sleep today. That is true. Weston Ira said, okay, I think this is a schmodown thing. Between Roka's feat of performing while being unable to stand to Snyder's health issues this year, I think he should have taken the time to recover and not compete when he did this year. How sick is too sick to compete in the movie trivia schmodown, both in studio and online?
Honest answer, sick at all, because we're not being paid enough for you to come bring your fucking germ viruses to the stupid studio. I think tell me the third lead of Stand By Me.
It was two-parter. The first part was both in studio and online. So I think, Cam, that is accurate for in studio. Mm-hmm. You can't. I'm somebody who's on camera saying that I go to work sick. I have said this my whole life. I've never missed one day of work in 10 years of being in this industry. I'm not advising people to do that, but I do not feel comfortable ever missing work, because I think that if I miss a day of work, my job will get taken. That is the truth of the industry that we are in. And I've seen it happen to people time and time again. I do not want to go to work when I am sick. It is not nice to go to work when you are sick, but when you are legitimately afraid that you are going to lose your entire livelihood if you don't show up for one day, which is the way that you've been made to feel, I can't judge myself for it. So
I hear you. The thing I will say is that ends up hurting your coworkers. And I don't mean like as in you getting them sick. I mean as in then your bosses point to you as an example when they call in sick.
Completely. I agree, Cam. I
that's
agree.
Something that we need to change industry wide.
I agree, and that's horrible, and I don't want to do that.
And it's not even just in our industry.
Yeah.
It's working at baby.
Yeah.
It's
working at the grocery store. Working at the grocery store, I got in. I'm going to put trouble in quotes because I didn't give a shit. I had my boss tell me when I worked goodnight crew at the grocery store, I called in sick because I was sick. And the next day I come in and he goes, I once worked on a broken leg. And I looked at him and I said, well, you're an idiot. And that's why you have a fucked up knee.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy with me.
No, obviously
but
not. I don't
give a shit.
I don't disagree with a single thing you're saying.
Yeah.
I think it sucks that sometimes I feel as if, because I don't think I'm a selfish person. I think that I love my friends and I think I'm a pretty generous person. But sometimes I sit and talk to myself and say, like, you have to pay your bills. So like sometimes you have to do what you have to do, even though that's not nice, even though that's not like the right thing for other people. And I have been told before, like, with food poisoning, with diapers on, doesn't fucking matter. Like, you're coming into work or we will find somebody else. And when you are told that, what do you do?
It's awful.
Honest answer. And I totally hear you. Honest answer, call their bluff and go find someone else.
I don't
want... they cannot do it that quickly. They think they can. They'll say they can. They can't. Your then stupid ass boss goes on the air themselves sweating because they actually don't know how to do their job that they think is easy.
Maybe but you call their bluff and then you all of a sudden can't pay rent in case they're right. Like, it's easier said than done to call their bluff.
It is.
But I hear you.
But this is my thing too, I'm really passionate about this. This is my thing, that is why the industry doesn't change.
Yep.
It's not the people getting fired. It's the people being scared they're going to get fired. It's the people who go, well, I can't. Someone else has to take that stand. And I'm like, that's not how things change.
Yeah. It's like I said earlier, Roxy, like when we feel that powerless, I think the thing to do is, and I feel like I've been doing this since I was a kid, which is why basically teachers and parents have always liked me, is because I play by the rules. I try to get what I want while still playing by the rules. It's very Lex Luthor, right? It's I'm still getting exactly what I want, but it's like, but you can't be mad because I checked and I have like paid time off, correct? I can use this in this job. And then, well, yeah. So it's like, we feel helpless, but a thing we can do is if we're not sick, is to go to whoever at our job would help us answer this question. Hey, I got a question. Hey, real quick, I don't mean to bug you, but like, if I were to get super, super sick, God forbid, something were to happen, what could I do? Do I have paid time off? Do I have vacation time? Do I have sick time? Oh yeah, I think it's this, and this with this form and this. Okay, cool. So something happens, I'd have to fill that out. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah. Good to know for future reference. Then when it happens, you can be like, hey, I talked to the HR person. I talked to my boss. I talked to my supervisor, whatever. And they said this and this. So that what happened with Cameron, when somebody goes, hey, I worked on a broken knee. You can be like, well, you didn't have to. I did this. I did it by the book. I played by the rules.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't have to be,
get everything in writing. Get everything you can in writing.
Basically, it's a pain and it sucks. And we as the worker bees shouldn't have to be doing that kind of work to look out for us. It should be very basic company. That's what they do, but
it depends also on the contract. Like a lot of places are, if you don't work, you don't get paid. And there have definitely been moments where I'm so tight where one day not working for one day means that I don't make rent that month. So like, that's another thing. And it's not that I disagree with a single thing you guys are saying. You are absolutely 100% right. I don't preach what I don't practice. And so it's hard for me to tell anybody stay home when I have time and time again. And, I do everything I can. I sit far away. I wash my hands 1,000 times, but I let all of my coworkers know. I'm not the kind of person who's sneaky about it. I say, like, I send out that text, I'm coming in today. I am ill.
No, and I hear you. And I feel you. I think I would say at this point, you have enough pool and enough people who are aware of you and following and stuff like that if you needed to take a day, I think you would have people be like, hey man, we
got you.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
I have a fourth of the following you have, and people helped me when I got into a little car thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and again, like, this is not to put any guilt on you, but this is just how it is. You coming in sick means your boss tells another person who does try and go, hey man, I'm not feeling well. It's like, well, Roxy came in. You're not aware they're doing that.
Team player.
No, I am aware. It's happened with every job that I've had. I have been that person. And my coworkers have come to me and been like, you've got to stop this. And I'm like, that sucks. That fucking sucks. I'm the person who negotiates with my coworkers. I'm the person who I am ride or die. I'm a team player. So I hate this aspect of myself, but it's
not your fault. It's not your fault. You're an American citizen, Roxy. That's part of the gig. And I feel like
I am America. Remember?
Yeah. I hope that.
As far as doing the schmo down at home when you're sick, yeah, fine. I don't care. What a fine.
Yeah. The third lead in Stand By Me was. I hope that when we get out of this, I really hope that people vote in their best interest and we get Medicare for all, because it's a thing to even have healthcare attached to jobs. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea because you get stuff like this. People not being able to miss work because they're like, I can't get fired. I can't get fired because then I'll lose my health insurance. Like that's insane. That's insane. So I really hope that this thing
the amount of friends that I have,
and
I'm sure you guys do too, of people who do not leave jobs because of the health insurance and the health insurance alone. Like that is reason.
It's the only reason I stayed in the grocery store for 10 years.
Yep.
Because you need it. You need
benefits.
It. As a person who's freelance, who pays my own health insurance out of pocket, it is brutal. It is. It feels next to impossible. Anyway, thank you for the question about the movie Trivia Schmodown, Weston. Appreciate that.
Bring it on. I'll bring those hard opinions all the time.
Glenn in here said, no, I love that you do though, Cameron, because it's important. It matters. But Glenn says, Roxy, Hector, and Cameron, what are some of your favorite places to visit and spend time in, or activities to do when you just want to get away from it all and unwind, or just have some me time? Do you have any particular place to visit or number one go-to activity?
So if we're not in a COVID situation where we're more allowed to kind of just do our thing. I love hiking. I love hiking. I used to a couple years ago.
Do you have an LA trail you love?
I live where I live. Actually, there's a pretty great trail, Duke Majan Trail, and it's easy, but it's high in the mountains, and it just looks great. I've done a couple photo shoots up there because it's an easy trail, so I'm not asking a model to like sweat everything off. And it just looks like people are like, "Oh my God, you really went into the woods." I'm like, "Yeah." But also, one of the most common things I did in my life was like 5 years ago. My sketch team went up to San Francisco for Sketch Fest. And so I made sure it was a priority that by myself, I went to Muir Woods. I don't know what that is. Muir Woods is like the Redwood Forest. It's where they filmed the Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
Planet of the Apes. That's where Caesar lives. Caesar is home.
I was going to say that next too. So,
it's very calming, very relaxing. I love doing stuff like that.
I'll do one that's the quarantine answer. If you need to get away, if you're in a situation where either you're living at home or if you have roommates, and sometimes especially if you have roommates, and if you have a car, take a drive, even if you don't have to go anywhere. Yes. We have stay-at-home orders, to just take a drive with intending to stay in your car, listen to some music, listen to a podcast, blast the AC, whatever, who cares? Go, maybe get some gloves if you got to fill up and go to a gas station and kind of, wipe yourself down or whatever, but don't talk to anybody. Hopefully your gas stations are self-serve. But just taking a drive to let yourself get out of your house for a little bit and pretend as though you can kind of explore the world and take in some music. And I find that to be a little bit relaxing. And then you get sick of being in the car so that when you get home, you're like, oh, I feel great. Oh, I feel better.
Lay on the couch.
Yeah, you can stretch out and stuff. So yeah.
I agree. My one thing to remember though is, because apparently during this time, and I see it when I drive, is that there are more car accidents right now because obviously we are so distracted.
People have forgotten how to fucking drive. It's unreal.
People forget how to, and your just brains are elsewhere. So and people are forgetting to fill up their tanks, like just normal day life stuff. So just when you are driving, just be aware and make sure that you have enough gas to get where you're going, and that you are go slow, but not too slow, go normal speed, and be aware of other drivers and that they might not be paying attention to, because their minds might be wandering as well. So you just want to give yourself even extra distance. Because it's a crazy time, and I feel like things that are second nature to me, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but are no longer second nature. Like I burnt the shit out of my hand the other day because I put a pan in the oven, and then I just grabbed the pan from the oven because
The other week I put box of cereal in the fridge, and I put the milk in the cabinet. Thankfully, I figured it out pretty quickly, but
exactly, that's it.
I spilled a bunch of wine last night. I feel real bad about it. I spilled a bunch of wine on our coffee table because I picked up a PlayStation controller to change the movie setting, and it's like the controller was plugged in, and I just took
no spatial awareness of it. Did your wine destroy the coffee table, or do you just
no? We got it. We lost a little bit of wine. We got it. It touched a piece of a Nintendo 64 that was on the table. It's fine. Everything's fine. So, okay. But it was just like I wasn't
could have been worse
thinking. And and the other thing is if the cool thing about just taking a drive to take a drive is you don't have to be anywhere, so you really don't have to rush. So you really can just like leisurely drive, and that's kind of nice too. So
yeah, agreed. Glenn Caesar says, thanks for giving us a fun show today, Roxy, Cameron, and Hector. Oh, yeah, we have to get out of here soon. 2 thumbs up. Y'all are the best. Roxy, I think you should definitely have them back on again. Whoa, look at you guys.
I'm down.
Anytime. Here's my last question for Cameron and Hector. If you could pick a special ability or superpower, what would it be?
Oh. Teleportation.
That's what I mean.
Get in that White House, scare the shit out of the guy. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Like Nightcrawler. That's right.
No, truthfully, and this is again like in a pre-COVID world, because it'd be like, oh, you'd wake up and be like, oh my god, I'm late, and then in the car you're rushing this, that, the other. I'd love to be like, I gotta be at work in 10 minutes. Okay, no problem. Just like that, or freeze time. Freeze time would also be another one.
Yeah, you pick a thing like teleportation, and then you're using it to make sure you're not late to work. How about like, I want to go see Paris. Like
that's on the weekends, Roxy. Yeah, that's implied.
Yeah. I still got bills.
Yeah, we all got bills. Can't teleport the bills away.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, I guess I could teleport to the guy who's collecting the bill and hold him over like a building, scare him. Be like, you
damn, this got so dark. Your power is
Cam is a supervillain, I guess, in this scenario.
You don't send bills to this address anymore. You got it.
So I need to pick a power so that I can stop the teleporter over here. That's the city's menace is the teleporter.
It's just Jumper. It's just the movie Jumper.
Yeah, I guess I'll also pick teleportation to be able to jump or fight Cameron on the Sphinx and on the pyramids and shit.
Making sure I pay my bills.
We have had 2 people on this show. Speaking of supervillain, there have been 2 people on this show who have picked the power of persuasion. This is a real thing. And I say that anybody who picks the power of persuasion is supervillain. Those people are Christian Harloff and Maude Garrett. They both picked power of persuasion.
Makes a lot of sense.
And I can't.
Would you do the Schmodown sick and for free?
I have told them, I was like, this is a villainous power, but they told me any power could be used for evil. And I said, I'm not using teleportation for evil. And then Cam just asked me to hold his beer as he talked about holding somebody over.
It's true. You can't use it. You can't use any power for evil. You can even use the power of persuasion for good, depending. But that one relies too much on. I think you could. I think that if you were a good person, I think that if you were John Wesley Shipp and you decided to run for office and you used your power to get everybody to either vote for you or let you get that position of power, but then once you got in there, you had good idea, like you tried to change the world positively for the better.
Hector, is it ever good? Are you ever good if you use power?
You're talking about the greater good? Yeah, I think you are.
No, but to convince somebody to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah, if that person's like, I don't want to wear a mask, my freedom. Power persuasion, shut the fuck up, wear a mask, and then go shopping. That's for the greater good. Like, people are dumb. I don't know what to tell you.
Lex Luthor
people are dumb.
The house.
Play by the rules.
Make them shit their pants.
Wait, are you picking teleportation too, though, really, Hector?
No, I pick super speed. Super speed, similar reasons as Cameron, is that, if I get the super speed that has been established by the Flash, which comes with a couple things. First of all, you get abs immediately.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you can eat anything you want.
But you can't get drunk ever again, though.
That's fine. Neither can Captain America. Like, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. But you could still, but that means you could still drink. You could like go to a bar and people could, so it's like horror story is avoided. Like, you could still drink and you'll never get out of your mind drunk.
That's what you're trying to do?
No, vibrating. I probably wouldn't do that. Maybe I'd mess with it. But the thing I also love is that you can read everything in like 2 seconds, read a book, and you retain it for maybe an hour. But I would still do that to at least be like, do I enjoy this book? Do I like this book? I'd read it. retain it for a little bit, go to Goodreads and be like, I gave this book 4 stars. I enjoyed it. And then if I forget it later, I could be like, nah.
Superpowers, so I could really bank them Goodreads.
Really just get through the books that I've got.
With your power, are you dealing with the whole Speed Force? Like, are you going to have to put yourself in the Speed Force to help the other people with the Speed Force, and the Speed Force implodes and you've got to save the Speed
Now that's just a plot of Jumper. Are you asking, am I going to find other jumpers? Maybe. How many of these magic wishes are you giving out, Roxy? How many other people have this?
It wasn't me, it was Glenn, so I don't know. One more question, I think, before we got to get out of here. Coming in from Broken Blue. That makes me sad for some reason. Broken Blue. I don't know. I hope you're not broken or blue. Broken Blue says, I started binging Hitchcock films because I hadn't seen any of them. I didn't think The Birds was that great. Wow, that's my favorite. But I love Rope. Which director do you guys think have the most solid filmography, even if they aren't your favorite director?
Probably Steven Spielberg. I think that his career is awesome, so influential. The hits hit so hard. Even the misses are like still really good. You know, people crap on The Terminal, and I'm like, I like the movie The Terminal. I like his War of the Worlds. I like, you know, those kinds of films, and he has still so many that I haven't seen yet. I even like, I didn't hate Ready Player One. I thought it was fine.
I like
you know, right? And it's like, and that's probably one of his least good movies is Ready Player One. And I just think he's even more influential, I think, than Coppola, than Kubrick, than Scorsese, than James Cameron. Like, I gotta go Spielberg.
How about you, Cam?
I think I would go Scorsese. I do love Spielberg, but I feel like Scorsese for me is like, I love that he kind of continues to push himself and pick movies with interesting themes into his 70s, and like, you know, to go from like Hugo to Silence to Wolf of Wall Street to, you know, The Irishman, like all these movies that I feel like are really playing with interesting themes and ideas. And I love Spielberg, but I feel like there's that interesting like divide that's happened over the last couple of years of like wanting to do like The Post and Munich, get these more serious movies, and then try and do these like popcorn movies. And to me, the popcorn movies haven't been hitting as well. And I like that Scorsese doesn't seem necessarily interested. And not that that's a bad thing, but just Scorsese, I like that he doesn't seem interested in making a popcorn movie. Like Wolf of Wall Street's the most popcorn movie. And it's still like 3 hours and 10 minutes. And it's about like business sucks.
I think maybe Christopher Nolan. Even though he is actually one of my favorites, but there's some that I don't even love, but I still think he's so solid. I think his filmography is just super solid.
Great director.
He's another big idea guy. I like idea guys. I like people who are like coming in with like themes and ideas. Like they're not overly concerned about plot. You know what I mean? Like they're more concerned about like what's the cool big idea or the cool big theme I can play with.
Yeah. I mean, obviously his filmography doesn't go as deep as a Spielberg, but still, that's what I think. Ridley Scott was hit or miss. Yeah, I wouldn't put Ridley Scott in this category necessarily.
I might only be in that, like, if you think about like Alien and Blade Runner is a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
It's really, really strong out the gate.
And then in the 90s, Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise is huge. That's
awesome.
still a movie people talk about.
That movie.
Gladiator's about to have its 20th anniversary. People love Gladiator. He's like, to be able to still be like a huge name director.
You're right. You're right.
30 years is like, there's people who direct a movie and 5 years later we're like, what happened to that person?
Very true. Guys, it's the last question that we had time for today. So thank you all for all your questions on the Streamlabs and the Super Chat and the Patreon and everything. Thank you. Round of applause at home for Cameron and Hector. Woo! Oh, good. You guys can clap for each other. We can clap for you. It's the whole thing.
Fist bump, Cam.
I know that they're already pitching you guys coming back on. So until that point, where can everybody keep up with? I'm just bumping you guys both. Where can everybody keep up with you? Where can they find you? All the things you're working on, Cam, starting with you.
The main thing would be I'm doing a lot of Twitch stuff. So twitch.tv/TheCameronRice. I've been playing the Spider-Man game on PS4. That's been great. I've been playing at night with Andy Campbell. We just did Resident Evil 6 and we're both very bad at it, so that was kind of the point of the game. Point of it was how bad we both are. And could we do the majority of the game just punching the zombies? And the answer is yes. So just silly shit like that. And then this Saturday I'm doing my RPG Blood Curdling Tales of Terror.
I still need to do something.
It's gonna happen. Do you have a D6? Do you have a D20 yet? Did you order them?
Was that the die?
Yeah.
Dice.
Either one.
Yeah, well, they both work.
No, I haven't done it, but I need to. Can you remind me?
I could bring you one. I have like a bag of
colors, though. I like maybe pink. I like yellow. Whoa.
Do it, girl. Order all. They're probably like $6. Just order every color.
When Ma was on the show, she started asking me all questions about like what kind of elf I was, and then like where my name, and I made a whole.
That's a lot of D&D stuff, which is cool and great.
I don't know the difference. Girl. I don't know anything, but I was an elf. I was sneaky, and I was avenging my sister's death. It was crazy. That shit happened.
It's all tracks.
Hector, what about you? Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Hector is Funny on the internet, which is right down there, which is really nice. I'm also on episodes of DC Daily. So watch those on YouTube and on DC Universe. And if you like movies, please listen to the 500 Greatest Films podcast. We're finishing up watching Wes Anderson movies, my buddy Keller and I. And then after that, we're going to tackle all the Fast and Furious movies while we're waiting for the things to lift so that we can have guests over, guests like Roxy, guests like Cameron, and we'll have them on again. But in the meantime, it's just me and my buddy, and we're going through series of movies, and it's awesome.
You're doing all the Fast movies?
Yep.
Which is your favorite Fast movie?
Fast 5 with a bullet. With
a
bullet. Pew! With a bullet. Number 1 with a bullet, baby. Fast 5 is the best one.
100%.
Yeah.
That was the quickest answer you've had the entire show, and you had some quick answers.
Have you ever been on the record talking about the Fast movies?
On the record? No. Off the record, yeah. I think she watched them all.
On one of the episodes.
Yeah, we might. That's a really good idea. We had Keller's fiance Chelsea. She guessed it on one of the Wes Anderson movies, talking about the Royal Tenenbaums. So that was really fun. So she was just like, I'll be the guest tonight. And Keller and I were like, great, cool, come on. So yeah, that could happen with the Fast films. And I think after the Fast movies, I think we're going to do the Daniel Craig 4 Bond movies. I've
never seen them.
Oh, wow.
Only Bond movie I've ever seen is GoldenEye.
Makes sense.
That's not him, right?
No, that's Pierce Brosnan.
That was the last guy.
That's how little I know.
Maybe you can watch along and listen to those episodes, Roxy.
No, I want to. It sounds good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining Live at the Roxy. We will be back. I will be back tomorrow with my DC movie news co-host, Adam Gertler, in the house. First time coming on. He's been too busy to come on because he's been serving his sausages. What a time to open a restaurant. What a time to open a restaurant. Right. Mid-March, he opened his restaurant. So it's been a hectic couple months for him. We'll definitely be talking about that and more guests coming this week. So I will see you guys tomorrow live at the Roxy at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you to Cam and Hector again. You guys are great.
Let us know. We'll be back anytime.
Stay safe and happy Memorial Day weekend.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Go for Grace. Mom, can you bring